Hello everyone, just a quick and dirty video today. I don't have my usual audio equipment, so we're on camera audio and all the rest of it. Today on the bench I have this T-Rex fuel tank power supply, which was kindly sent to me by Mr. Levi Clare of the Guitar Souls podcast. I highly recommend you check that out, by the way. It's definitely one that I listen to regularly when I'm on the road. Apparently this power supply is just completely dead, no power output whatsoever. He was going to throw it in the bin and I said, well, if you're going to throw it in the bin, can I have it please? Because even if I can't fix it, I'm sure I could find some kind of use for it. But hopefully it just has a simple problem that can be easily fixed. First impressions of this thing, it must be built like an absolute tank because it weighs an absolute ton. I just have a little cheapy £10 power supply at home, a Nordell one I think it is, and you can tell this one's the real deal. So I guess we better get it open. Now I can see there are 4 screw holes on the bottom which I think are probably holding the internals in place. Similarly, I think these screws on the side are holding the sockets in place. So I'm guessing these screws along the side are what's keeping the case on. They seem to be small Allen key bolts, so let's get those off. I thought there were Torx screws looking at them. There might still be yet, but the Allen key seems to be working fine, so. Go. Okay. Solder joints look okay. Some of them are a little bit cruddy. There's a fuse here, let's check that fuse. Okay, so I'm fairly certain that that has fused. This is clearly some kind of self-contained transformer block. Well, I can't say anything immediately online in the way of a service manual or anything like that. I'm going to try putting another fuse in, which I will just check is working. Yeah. Try putting that new fuse in. I think the entire output of this thing is supposed to be about 1.5 amps. The only fuses I've got to hand are 100 milliamps and 3 amps. 3 amps is probably a bit too high. Putting a really high rated fuse in is a big no-no really for long term, but I think for the purposes of testing will be okay. I would probably go with a 2 amp fuse going forward, but let's see what happens if we plug her in. Well, it's got a power light on, that's a good sign. This capacitor over here is looking a little bit bulgy actually. I might replace that. I wonder if I can get in to test the voltage of the pins. Slightly under 9 volts. If I wanted to, I could go around desoldering these transistors and sticking them on the transistor tester, but I don't really have time for that today. I think just the one thing I will do is see if I've got a suitable replacement for that capacitor, because it is looking a little bit misshapen and it could be causing voltage leak where it should not be. So you're looking for 1000 microfarad, 25 volts. So let's get our cheapy Chinese capacitor tester. This is a new capacitor that has been sat in the workshop for quite a while, to be honest, but I think it should still be fine. Half a percent voltage loss, and the capacitance is measuring just under what it's rated, but within tolerance. Let's see how the one we just removed does. As I say, it does look a bit bulgy on top. Legs might just be long enough to fit in here. Notice it seems to be taking longer. Oh wow. 32 picofarads, that doesn't sound right at all. Let's try it one more time. Other way around this time. Yeah, okay, so that capacitor is definitely gone. Explains a thing or two. I think since that one was so bad, even though this one visually looks okay, for the sake of a couple of pence, I might as well replace this one as well. See how this one tests. Yeah, that one's absolutely fine. ASL value is actually very good. You know what, I might just actually stick that one back in. Check one more time, everything's working. Just actually bending those transistors away from the caps, because they will no doubt produce some heat. Bang on 9 volts there. And bang on 12 volts as well. There were slightly lower figures than that before. That cap obviously had something to do with it. So yeah. So it just goes to show, I mean, I really don't know that much about electronics, but you can almost guarantee 9 times out of 10 if something has a power issue, it's usually an aged or blown capacitor. Failing that, maybe a transistor. And if you just get a cheap little tester like this, it can show you exactly which component's at fault. I still don't even really know what that capacitor does. I can only assume it's some kind of power supply smoothing capacitor. But yeah, one working power supply. I will go home and do some research on this fuse. I think it probably should be down at something like 2 amps rather than 3, but it'll be enough to test with for now. So yeah, not a very exciting video, but I hope it was helpful to some people. I'm just going to screw that back together now, take it home and test it. So if the video ends there, you know it's working. Until next time, goodbye.